My sister called child services on me after I disciplined my son in a way she disagreed with. 36M. Still can't believe my sister did this. I'm trying to process it, but honestly, I don't know if I can ever look at her the same way again. My name is Brandon. I have two sons, Jackson, 12M, and Noah, 9M. I co-parent with their mother, Rebecca, and we've built a really solid post-divorce relationship. My sister, Olivia, who's 5 years younger, has always been close to my boys. She babysits, comes to games, genuinely loves them. Or at least, I thought she did. Last month, Jackson came home with his third failing math grade in 4 weeks. Not just a bad grade, a failure. I sat him down and asked what was happening. He admitted he'd been sneaking his phone into his room at night, playing video games until 3 a.m. instead of studying. He'd been lying to me about doing homework. I was disappointed, but I stayed calm. I explained that dishonesty was the real issue here, not the failed test. So I took his phone away for 2 weeks. He'd earn it back by improving his grade and proving he could be truthful with me. I also enrolled him in tutoring twice a week. Jackson was furious. He complained constantly. He told Olivia that I was being unfair and controlling, making it sound like I'd committed some terrible parenting crime. Olivia came over for lunch a few days later. When she heard about the phone situation, she immediately took Jackson's side. She told him my punishment was harsh and that I needed to parent with empathy. Then she said something that should have been a red flag. If things ever feel really bad, you can always talk to someone about it. I pulled her aside and told her to stop undermining me. I said Jackson needed to learn that choices have consequences. She got defensive and left angry. I thought it was over. Then 5 days later, there was a knock on my door. A social services investigator. Olivia had called Child Protective Services and reported me for psychological abuse and excessive punishment. I was in shock. Complete, devastating shock. The investigator came in, spoke to both boys separately and together, looked around the house and asked me detailed questions. Jackson told her the truth. He'd failed tests because he wasn't studying. I'd taken his phone as a consequence, and while he didn't like it, he understood why. Noah said I'd never treated him unfairly. The investigator was thorough but kind. She concluded there was no evidence of abuse or neglect. She said taking away a phone for academic dishonesty and lying was well within normal parenting. My home was clean, my kids were healthy, and they both spoke positively about me. The case was closed as unfounded, but it was still filed, still on record, and I was devastated. When I called Olivia, she didn't apologize. She said she was genuinely concerned about my harsh methods and was just making sure the boys were safe. She actually believed she'd done something good. I told her I couldn't have her in my life until she understood what she'd done was wrong. I had to tell my parents, which broke their hearts. Here's what nobody tells you about false child services reports. They leave scars. Even though the case was closed, even though I did nothing wrong, there's this lingering paranoia. What if someone else calls? What if someone misinterprets normal parenting? Jackson's grades improved. He got a B on his last test. He's studying now. He even told me he understood why I stood firm, and he appreciated that. But I've lost my sister. Olivia texted 2 weeks later wanting to talk. I haven't responded. My parents say she made a mistake and was coming from a place of caring, but there's a difference between caring about kids and weaponizing a government agency against your own brother. I'm in therapy working through this. My therapist says forgiveness might be possible, but only if Olivia truly understands what she did and why it was wrong. Right now, she hasn't shown that understanding. I'm hopeful, but I'm also protecting myself. Sometimes the people closest to us hurt us the deepest, and sometimes moving forward means accepting that some relationships might never be the same. Edit. Thank you for the overwhelming support. To clarify, no contact with Olivia right now. My boys are thriving, and I've learned that standing firm on my values, even when family challenges me, is what my kids needed to see all along.